Hello everyone, and I'm on a little bit of a roll filming today. I have had cold for the last week. My nose has been so stuffy, my throat has been sore, my ears have hurt, my head has been pounding constantly, but I literally just slept through the last 2 days, maybe being awake for a couple of hours each time, not very long, and I'm feeling a lot better now. My throat's still a little bit croaky, my nose is still a little bit blocked, but I figured I would try and jump back into making videos for you guys because I've missed it, and I miss doing these. So after my video in which we looked at the transformed wife and her weird rape apologies, seriously, a lot of you guys asked me to look at the comment section of her blog. Now, her blog comments are very heavily curated. She doesn't allow anyone who disagrees with her to post, basically. She checks everything before it goes live, which means that her comment section is a horrible little echo chamber of people who agree with her. And it's incredibly disturbing. The fact that there are so many real people out there who believe these things. So today we are going to be looking at some of those comments on her excusing a rapist blog post. If you haven't seen the first video that goes along with this, it should be up on screen. There'll be a little eye icon in one of these corners that will link to it. Sorry, Caribbean is crying. I'll also link it down in the description below, so you should watch that before this one. Go do that now. Come on, good girl. Hello. Alright, we have a schmoogie bear here. The top comment on the blog reads, "I can't believe people and some believers at that believe this was rape. Lol. Biblically speaking, a wife shouldn't deny her husband sex. If he starts having sex with her while she's asleep, and she really doesn't want to, hopefully for a good reason, then she should humbly ask him for a rain check. End of story. But to say her husband is raping her is crazy. Her body belongs to him, biblically speaking, and vice versa. No, screw that. Your body belongs to you. No one has a right to violate you when you've already said no to them and not given your consent. When you're asleep, you can't give consent. So if someone's asleep, you don't go near them. End of story. You don't own anyone's body. No one owns your body." Next comment. "I do not believe this was rape. I do, however, believe it was very inconsiderate of the husband to do that while the wife was sleeping. Sex was created by God to be an intimate, connecting act between the husband and wife. It's not very intimate or connecting if one of the spouses is asleep and not participating in the act. Yeah, if one of the spouses is asleep and not participating, that's not just inconsiderate, that's not just not intimate, that's rape." The transformed wife actually responded to this one saying, "So what if it was inconsiderate? Is there no grace in a Christian marriage? Don't spouses allow the other to mess up at times and forgive freely? Aren't we to forgive as Christ has forgiven us?" So now not only is she making excuses for a rapist, but she's saying, look, it doesn't matter if your husband's inconsiderate. Suck it up, bitch. My understanding of the word rape is primarily non-consensual sex. It may involve physical abuse, as in the rape of an adult woman, or it may involve only coercion, in the case of statutory rape of a minor. In light of this, in the strictest sense, sex in marriage can never be defined as rape, because when the bride and groom stand at the altar and say "I do," they are giving consent once and for all to sex, among other things. This is why today's fornicating culture is teaching young people to keep asking their partners is this okay? Every step of the way as they progress from holding hands right up to full-on intercourse. And if the girl wakes up with buyer's remorse, she's entitled to cry rape. In a marriage, there's no need for such bureaucracy because consent was given at the altar. Does this person realize how horrific and damaging this view is? It's a great thing to teach people to ask for consent at every stage, because while hand-holding may be okay for some, penetration might not be okay for them. Therefore, you ask at every stage in between to make sure they're okay with it. Getting married is not consent to always have sex. Getting married does not mean my vagina's yours for life. Getting married means, hey, we're agreeing to have this life together and build a life and a family together. It means, hey, we're agreeing to do this and split these responsibilities and so on. It does not mean my vagina's yours to use whenever you fancy. Bizarre. It's so bizarre. Can you imagine this guy's a father and his son is like, "Dad, I've got my first girlfriend. I think about having sex. How do I know when she's ready? How do I know if she really wants it?" And, you know, a good dad would say, well, you know, you speak about this like adults, you talk to each other, you communicate, you make sure that you're both comfortable at every step. Nah, not this dad. He'd be like, marry a mate, and she's yours for life. Do what you want with her. Use her. You basically bought her. Stop treating women as objects. Even Kyra doesn't like it. Hello, baby. You alright? Get up. I know. See, this makes my schmook so mad, doesn't it? You. Instead of looking for what this man possibly could be doing wrong, how about as a wife, looking and believing her husband has nothing but goodwill towards her? How exciting to be woken up in the middle of the night with the love of your life desiring you. I nearly read that as destroying. Freudian slip. Certainly it should add some extra excitement. Hello. Life with dog, eh? Isn't it wonderful? I love you. I love you. Come here, Batha. Down we get. Good girl. I'm trying to have a serious discussion here about consent. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I love you. I love you. Good girl. You be careful. I know some of you don't like it when I leave the Kyra bits in, but at the same time, I'm like, this is my life. This is what I put up with when filming. And, you know, I want to be real with you guys. And I love her and she is part of my life. And she does make dealing with the disgusting stuff like this a hell of a lot easier. So, you know, you're my girl, aren't you? So when she comes along, I just let her be. She needs a little bit of love and attention too, you know? I'm saddened that this woman has had her thought twisted in this matter, that she finds to question if her husband was wrapping her in their marital bed. I think she means raping, but whatever. I certainly pray he never finds out and she seeks counsel for this. He could be afraid to ever show interest in her again. The transformed wife replies, I agree with you. It's a rebellious, unloving and unforgiving wife who would claim her husband was raping her by doing this. Stop with the victim blaming already. It's disgusting. Stop it. I don't know how many times I have to say this. This next comment is probably one of the most disgusting ones I read. Ladies, sex within marriage is a debt that you owe to your husband. He should never have to collect what is due from you by force. If he has to do that without actually doing physical harm to you, it is your shame, not his. Wives, stop being deceived by the lies of Satan. Feminism. And joyfully and generously give your husband what is owed to him. It will make your marriage much, much better. If you don't, it is you that are in sin, and your husband is perfectly justified before God if he divorces you because of it. No one owes anyone anything, especially not sex, especially not their body. You're right there. I'll be the centre of attention, don't you? A little show off. A little show off. I am just in utter disbelief that people like this exist. And not only that they exist, but they're trying to teach this crap to other people. It is so dangerous. You just have Kyra in the camera now, sorry. How could I possibly be mad when this girl is acting like this? Oh, I needed you today, Smoogs. You're the best. Oh, pickle. I do love you. This next person is disgusting and doesn't understand the concept of consent, but at least they're equal opportunities in their raping. The Bible says the wife's body belongs to the husband, and vice versa. Here it is, and it couldn't be clearer. The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. Did you read that? It said no power. Other translations say no authority. Furthermore, it says you cannot deny each other except by mutual consent, and only for a time. This means both parties have to agree if one does not want to have sex. Put it another way, no one can unilaterally decide on the issue. So what they're saying is the decision only needs to be unanimous when it's about not having sex. If it's about having sex, only one person needs to decide, and the other needs to suck it up and take it. That's not right. That's literally backwards. How do these people exist? How are they not in jail? I once wrote that spousal rape can never happen in a Christian marriage. If it does, one or both parties are not Christian. People convulsed, foamed at the mouth and reported the post. It was subsequently taken down. Ah, the good old no true Scotsman fallacy. You're not a true Christian if you don't let your husband rape you. This next post is a little more, I guess, graphic. But it's also probably one of the saddest posts on there, because this is a woman clearly living with so much fear in her life, not just fear of her husband, but just fear in general because of religion, that she doesn't have any pure happiness or joy. She thinks her life is just about minimizing suffering, if that makes sense. And it's a really heartbreaking little exchange to read. This is embarrassing to admit because most people wouldn't understand, but I'm a woman in my 50s, married for 29 years, and I don't think I've ever had an orgasm. I don't even know what people are talking about. I never deny my husband and gladly am intimate with him, as this is what I'm called to do as a wife, but it has not been an issue in our marriage whatsoever. Essentially, once my husband's needs are met, it's done. He's happy and content, and I am happy because of that. But my question is this: am I sinning because I've never experienced this? Maybe I'm broken in some way or need to repent. One, this is not an embarrassing thing to talk about. It's a mature thing that you can bring it up and ask these things. However, it is heartbreaking that you think you're broken in some way because of it. You're not. Not at all. It's also heartbreaking that you're purely thinking about this in terms of sin rather than in terms of what makes you happy or what's going to make you fulfilled or what's going to make you, more complete as a person, what's going to make you enjoy your life more. So that's heartbreaking, but it's not embarrassing. Some people responded to her, and then she replied with, I appreciate the replies, but I am 100% sure that my husband would be against this, even books by Christian authors or from a Christian perspective. He would consider it not appropriate for a Christian woman to discuss, and he is very happy and is having his needs met. It would seem selfish to me to seek pleasure for myself, because your husband's not being selfish? And honestly, if you don't know what you're missing, you don't really miss it. Again, heartbreaking thing to say, heartbreaking way to live. At this age, mid-50s, I'm too old to worry about it. You're never too old. And I just wanted to make sure I wasn't sinning in some way. Life shouldn't just be about avoiding fear and pain. It should be about finding happiness and finding the things that bring you joy. Asking for equality in your relationship, whether that's in terms of sexual pleasure or other things, is not being selfish. She even goes on to say in another part of a comment, we were taught that only fast, loose women liked sex, and if we expressed any kind of sexual need, even to our husbands, it was seen as dirty and inappropriate. This is why purity culture is bad. It's so damaging, and it hurts so many people, and it makes people feel like they have to be guilty or feel dirty about sex, when they don't. It's a normal, natural part of life. No one should feel ashamed like this. The last comment I want to read is, again, utterly disturbing, and it says, it's frightening to me and other men that women discuss this so casually. To be accused of rape means jail, losing your family, your savings, and access to your children, never again being employed, renting an apartment, or living anywhere. To be only accused of rape is an utter destruction of his life and reputation. What man would ever get married knowing his wife can still accuse him of rape? Well, how about, don't put your penis in her without consent, then she won't accuse you of rape. Okay, I know there's false accusations, but that's not what we're talking about here. Being married isn't a license to say you do whatever you want with my body. You still need consent from your partner. It's crazy to me that these people think that as soon as they get married, they can just do what they want and get away with it because, well, we're married. If you rape someone, you deserve to be in jail. If you rape someone, you deserve to lose your family and access to your kids. You deserve to struggle with employment and so on. Not raping someone is simple. Don't have sex with someone without their consent. Of course, this is also why false rape accusations are bad, but that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is a man who had sex with his wife when she'd already said no and she was asleep. If you do that, you do deserve to be in jail because it is rape. Whether you're married or not, doesn't matter. So yeah, the comments on this video were even more shocking than the blog post in a lot of ways. The fact that there are so many different people who think this way and feel this way is utterly worrying. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Which comment do you think was the worst? Let me know down in the comments below. And have you ever experienced or come across a person or had a conversation with a person who had this kind of opinion, who feels this way? And if so, let me know what you said to them, how you dealt with it. Are you still friends with them? Do you know them? Yeah, let me know your stories down in the comments below. But for now, thank you for watching today. If you're new here, it would be amazing if you would subscribe and stick around. I'd really appreciate that. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.